Hello, this is Laura and Christy at the Untamed and Unapologetic podcast. This is episode 9, and today's topic is: do we become invisible as we age, or are we finally free to lead? So we're going to be jumping
Yes.
into this powerful topic because I've seen this has come up on my social media a lot lately about women that what happens as we age. One, we could feel invisible as we reach our 40s and 50s. Men aren't looking at us like they once were. Or there's another aspect is people that are married with kids, your relationships changing, your space in the workplace might be changing. There's a lot of younger faces. Now you're the older person in the workplace, and it feels
Yes.
really weird. And people with kids, your kids, a lot of my friends have, I don't have children, but their kids are older now, and you're not needed. So you're not in this motherly role anymore, and you have to
Right.
let your kids, yeah, go to that next step. So that could feel we're going to talk about that feeling of grief and having to go through that, but stepping in to our next journey into what does it feel like to be a woman in midlife?
Right.
So,
It's kind of apropos. It's funny, like I didn't even really think about it when I got dressed this morning that I'm actually, being seen that I'm actually wearing like a black camo hat and a black camo tank top. Can I be seen sort of blending in? I don't want anyone to see me anymore. I'm gonna hide. No.
even more.
Yeah, right. No, but yeah,
Yeah.
are you yeah, it does change.
So our society kind of tells women that, like current society, that we should value our youth and beauty and fertility. And then, perimenopausal and menopausal, we go through this phase where, and I actually listened to a Instagram about how women live longer and why do we need women past that age? Like, okay, now we're not fertile, we're not even mothering anymore.
Right.
What's our purpose? And it's because the knowledge that we pass down, the mentoring and being in that
Hmm.
space too, again,
Right.
lead. And the lead can mean a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
So this past narrative that our worthiness is in our youth and fertility and beauty it's not natural. It's a man-made. It's not women-rooted truth.
No,
So we're
not at
reclaiming it.
all.
Yes.
We're reclaiming the power in growing older, that we're still useful in a lot
Yes.
of ways.
A lot of ways, and it
Yeah.
just shifts, and we're not really invisible. We're just no longer seeking validation from the wrong eyes.
Yeah.
Seeking that validation. So we're
Yeah.
going to talk a little bit about um kind of stories, how it's affected us. And yes, I've noticed definitely that shift. It's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that shift where you're not you're seen in a different way, and you don't realize it at first, right? Because it almost like happens quickly. It's just like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
not.
you don't really.
You don't like realize it. I'm not the one, like they're looking at the younger girls, right? It's just like, oh, I'm just kind of like, you do feel that invisibility, or no one's seeking you out, or like, when we walk down the street, it's not like I used to be like looked at or even
Right.
catcalled. Women, like, you're like, oh, okay. And then my question is why, and some women really have a hard time with that. And it's like, well, why would I need that? Why would I even want that? Why do I need that type of attention? That's kind of the first question I ask myself. And I'm like, I really don't. When
Right.
the truth of it, I can let it go.
Yeah.
And I was telling you earlier, we were talking about when I was going to Europe. It was a little while ago, but I was, probably into early 40s. And I was going to Europe by myself. And one of a guy I was working with at the time, he's like, oh, you got to be careful. Did you ever see that movie Taken? Like where he takes a young girl and like kidnaps her and puts her in the drug trade. I was like, yeah, nobody's going to be taking my ass. I was like, that's the last thing I'm afraid
They're
of.
not trying to, they're not
Yeah, they're like, if I step off the plane, they're trying to like, yeah.
looking for the 40-year-old ladies.
Yeah. I was like, it's kind of, I think I'm okay. And it's, again, it's true. It's not like, and I also have the intelligence and the knowledge to be aware of my surroundings.
Aware.
It's not
Right.
that you're not vulnerable to anything out there, but yeah,
Right.
you're more confident. Yeah, I was laughing at that. I'm like, yeah, that's not really one of my worries. So you were telling me a story about, um, Your Laura's a fitness instructor, and she has been for years about a guy in your class. So tell this story.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, again, talking about not, sort of like falling into the shadow, or sort of not being, sort of all of a sudden you become the center of attention. And I do think too, for someone like myself, and I think you think this way too, and I think for a lot of people that maybe we're around, because we are around a lot of people in my general circle. Like for me, especially because I work in the fitness industry, I'm around a lot of women who I don't feel, I don't really know what feeling my age is necessarily, but a lot of people will say, oh, I feel old. And not that I've never ever said that, but
Mm.
a lot of times in my brain, I don't equate my chronological age with how, like, I sometimes go, oh yeah, gosh, I am, like sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, I am in my 50s, like I don't think about it, right? Because I don't feel like it's like, oh wow, I have been around a long time, haven't I? I don't really think about it. Um, so I don't sort of think of myself necessarily all the time so much older
Mhm.
when I'm teaching or doing certain things, because I just, you just
Yeah, you don't think
function.
about it
Yeah,
really.
you
Like,
just don't think about it. So I received an Instagram message from a younger gentleman, probably like late 20s, early 30s. I'm not really sure, but who would take my class somewhat regularly, a class that I taught somewhat regularly. And oftentimes in the past, when I'd received some sort of guy sliding into my DMs, it would be like he's trying to,
yeah.
ask me out or whatever, right? Well, he basically says, hey, um, Laura, you know that girl that takes class every week, and she stands like in the front row, kind of over to the side, and she usually wears like that like bluish sports bra, and she's got like the blonde hair, the ponytail, and she usually wears it, and it's like kind of curly, and she's she's usually over there. Like he kind of describes this one young cute gal that like stands in a certain area, and I know who he's talking about. And he basically says like, hey, is there any way you could put in a good word for me? Like basically like, hey, I'm not interested in you at all,
Right.
but I want you to be the matchmaker.
Yeah. You help me.
Can you help me get a date? Essentially was the DM. So it was like an interesting shift. Like I don't care about you, old lady, but
Right.
hey, but you're an old lady, you might have some influence, mom.
Right. Yeah, like you're the mom. Like, can you help me, mom?
Help me out, mom.
Yeah.
By the way, I did not assist, and not because I didn't necessarily want to, but I didn't know either of them very well, and
Safe. Yeah.
yeah, it's just yeah, I'm at work. I'm not gonna play matchmaker.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't
No.
get paid for that. So,
Right. Exactly. You're
not
on
my
your own.
area.
He's on his own. He's old enough to do it himself.
Yeah, he's old enough to do it. You know what? At this day and age, no one has any balls. Go up and ask this young lady out.
That's
Okay. Go
exactly right.
talk to her.
Strike
Hey,
up a
my name's,
conversation.
so and so, whatever. But so yeah, sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was an interesting shift. So I
Yes.
thought it was kind of fun. I mean, I wasn't offended, but I
But
was like,
yeah,
oh,
it is something to get used to.
yeah,
It does say, and I
like,
a guy, he's in his late 20s, told me the other day, and I didn't know whether to take it. I was like, I mean, it was a compliment, but it was like, he's like, oh, you look youthful today. And I was like, that means like, oh, you usually look old, but today, like, I was like, oh, thanks. He's like, you look so, I see him every once in a while, like, he
yeah,
listens to me. But it was so funny. I was telling my friends, I was like, I got this kind of nice compliment, but I didn't, it still was like, all right, well.
this is backhanded. What's going on?
Backhanded, and I know we meant it in a nice way. I definitely know
Right.
that, but it was just funny. I was like, okay, that's like not a compliment I ever received before.
Right. Or you start to get I hope I look like you when I'm your age.
Oh,
I
okay.
hope
Yeah,
I look as good as you when I'm your age.
I got
Compliment
that
rather
way.
than
Yeah.
rather than the oh you look great.
Yeah.
Like instead of you're just looking great, it's you look great for your age.
Your
Or I
age.
hope you like there's like an attachment to the compliment.
Yeah.
It's not just the compliment. It's like, you look great. It's like, you look great because, you know,
Right. And it's
right?
you still always, I mean, it's just natural to want to look
Yeah.
youthful or look good as you age, but the whole idea is that we shift from that needing to something deeper and more meaningful. And that's like we know everything with even modeling, it's like every looks fade. So what is left inside? So this is like really powerful because what's left is what's inside. So now you need to develop your character, your
Mhm.
personality, your just ways of dealing with people, and your confidence could shift. And I feel like that these are all the positive shifts, the way you can lead because you have all this wisdom and knowledge. And like I said, this guy's reaching out to you like, can you help me, you know? So you're being seen
Right.
differently. So this is where our power shifts. If we can let go of that need that really need to that want to be admired, we will
Yeah.
become, yeah, magnetic in a deeper way.
Right.
So, like I think I said that before. It's like, yeah, I initially the guys aren't looking at me or they won't approach me, but when I approach myself and start talking, people like are more engaging in a conversation, which I didn't have 20 years ago because I wasn't able to engage and I wasn't comfortable in my skin. So I wasn't able to approach people and engage in a conversation like I am now because I don't.
Yeah. I've never had a real hard time talking to people,
Mhm.
at all, but definitely now I can just,
There's not
I
as
don't
much.
have any, because I'm not worried about what you think of me. I'm comfortable with who I am.
Yeah.
And, if don't want to talk to me, that's okay.
Right.
If I
Yeah.
talk to you and you are like, decide that I'm not for you or you're not, that's all okay. That's fine.
And it doesn't, so the conversations themselves now, I realize it's not around like me seeking anything. It's just literally being interested in wanting to chat.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah. I'm
don't
not seeking your attention. It's,
or approval.
whatever I'm doing, or there's something going on, or, you seem
And yeah,
interesting, or you're doing something that seems interesting, or yeah, yeah,
you're chatting.
yeah,
Second thing I wanted to address is and I don't think we always put it this way, but the grief we have to go through sometimes with the shift, the grief from we're becoming somebody different. So we have to grieve. And this is really, I think, huge with women that have children and they're no longer mothering their children in the same, they're always going to be a mom, but in
yeah,
the same way, because their kid they don't need it, whether they leave for college or they move out of the house after college.
right.
You don't have to make their meals anymore or you're shifting, so now you're like, okay, now who am I? Like I'm still a mom but I'm not in this mothering role, right? Or your
Not in
relate
the same way.
yeah, you and now I'm like, oh, you either have a good relationship with your partner or you're looking at each other like, holy crap, now it's just us again.
What do
Like,
we do now?
what do we do now?
Right.
But cause,
Well,
yeah, I see, so, right. I see it my friends, and I'm just like, ooh, I get excited for. I'm like, okay, now we get to go on more trips because you don't have your kids to like kid stuff going on.
there's a reason that a large number of divorces happen
Mm,
when women are like in their 50s
yeah,
and the kids are out of the house. I mean, this shift, which not only, women are, menopause happens, they no longer sort of, it sort of becomes the take no shit era, right? You're like, you've sort of been, and men in general, this is generalization, men are more willing to sort of just like sit in the fine. They'll
hmm,
sort of sit in the fine. They're like, oh, she doesn't say anything, I don't say anything, it's fine, we're fine, it's fine, it's fine, fine.
right,
And
right,
women
right.
will generally sit in that while they have a purpose, like where they're like, okay, I got to raise these kids,
Yeah,
we got to get through this. But once they're done, they're like, this is no longer fine, I am not fine, and I'm not living out the rest of my life with fine.
yes,
And if you're not going to come along and grow, I'm out, dude. We
yes.
got to go. Like, I got to go.
And
So,
it's
so yeah, that's a problem. So I think that's why a lot of couples like really, really struggle. And I think, and every couple has a different story, obviously, but I
yeah,
think that's, I think a lot of marriages can be turned around, but both
have to work at it.
parties need to want to turn it around. And I've seen both sides, and everyone has a, there's a both parts have a story, obviously. However, I will say in support of the female side that I have seen a lot of men come from the side of like, well, everything seems fine. And they're like, duh. And I'm like, well, if she's telling you that something isn't fine, she's not kidding. It's not a
Right.
joke,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, like, yeah. So I think there's a lot of couples. So it's like, yeah, let's like, you know,
What does the second half look like with just you together?
let's
And
go. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And some people definitely thrive during that time. And I think statistically, it is about 70% of women actually initiate, like you were saying, initiate divorce.
Yeah.
And I've heard men say, well, women are not happy or it's just not good enough. And I'm like, exactly what you're saying. It's because men will be like, it's fine. They don't know anything's wrong. And women are like, they just want, you want to feel like you're living your life and you're having a passionate life. And we all deserve that. And again, I'm not saying one way or the other, whether that's working on your marriage or just like rethinking it, because you're a totally different person now, like
Yeah.
20 years later, after you had your
Right.
kids out of your house, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, now I have like 20, 30, who knows, 40 years to live. And am I going to spend it with this guy who's like on the, watching TV 8 hours a day, And so, yeah. And he's like, everything's fine.
Everything's what? It's great.
Everything's
Yeah.
great. It's great.
Yeah.
So again, not one way or the other, not to, but it is super interesting, and it's that grieving and finding out what you really want. So yeah,
Yeah.
again, not judging anybody either way, whatever they
Yeah.
needed.
No.
Um,
I mean, maybe you both like to watch TV together. I don't know.
yes, and that's fine.
Hey, and that's okay if that's what works for you. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it
How do
doesn't
you
work for me.
I have a question. Yeah, exactly. And then the next shift is like, how are women? Because in ancestral cultures, primitive cultures, like the women were like the oracle or maybe
Mm-hmm.
the matriarch of the family, and you don't always see that now. In modern society, it's just like the elder circle. The women would, help with birth. I could never help. I don't know the first thing about the birthing, but women like were trained to help the tribe. And now again, that is lost. So now it's like we have to identify new roles as we age, and I see that as one, I get to do what I want to do, which may be selfish, but you also get to give in different ways and serve in different ways. That's how I
Right.
feel. Yeah, whether you have children or not, or your children don't need you, so now you have the time to step into different roles, right?
Right.
And that can look, so many different ways. Or it's even if you're stepping into, oh, I get to more time so I could travel more, or I get to step
Mm-hmm.
into a different type of job that a passionate job, because I don't really need that much. The career choice is different. I don't need money like I used to because I have some savings or whatever financially. Okay. So, sometimes I tell people like maybe you just want to do a job that you love just to like be social or get out there, something you all
Right.
do, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it could um look different ways, right? Um, so a couple things I wrote down: leading without needing to be the loudest. So leading is, it's just sometimes I feel like being there for people, or being that, an example I think we've talked about before is as our mom. It's like
Yeah.
she's kind of the matriarch of the family. And when she goes out, she's like, yeah, I do feel, I think she said once, like, yeah, people don't care about the old lady. They don't look at me, whatever. But she will meet and attract, like, it is crazy the people that
Yeah.
are
Everybody.
everybody. And
I know.
like, yeah. And I've been on vacation with her, and guys are like asking, where's your mom at? Like,
I know.
it's crazy. Like, she'll like
My
just,
daughter's softball team. Like it's
oh, okay.
everybody knows Grandma Sherry. Like
Yeah.
everyone's like, where's Grandma Sherry? She come to the game.
Right.
Where's
Right.
Grandma Sherry? Is Grandma
Yeah.
Sherry at the game?
Yes. Yes, and at your daughter's school, like all the kids
All the
knew.
kids. Oh, hi, Grandma Sherry. Grandma Sherry. Grandma
Yeah.
Sherry. Grandma
I
Sherry.
mean, yeah, so it's like you're establishing yourself you're leading from, she's like leading in an emotional way,
Yeah.
even your grandmother, your matriarch to everyone,
Yeah.
right? Another thing,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a very powerful place to be. Uh,
Yeah.
so this another one is reclaiming your sensuality and spirituality on your terms. So It's often, I think we talked about this before too. It's like you go out and you're trying to meet guys, or you're trying to work on your relationship. And now I feel like you step back and it's like, well, what do I really want it to look like? Because we're really never taught, right?
Yeah.
How our relationships look like. What do I want the relationship to be? And we get to choose. People think like, even if you're in a marriage for years and years, it's just like, well, you don't, again, you don't have to stay in a dead end relationship where there's no passion. Yeah, I was like, that's no. I'm just like, no,
No,
no.
no, no.
Yeah. It's on a deeper level, right? There's like a deeper spiritual level, even if you're not like a spiritual person.
Person. Right. Yeah. Yeah. You get to make it what you want. I think that successful, if we're talking about, couples, I think successful couples sort of rewrite their relationship if you really want to, but you have to be okay with, doing the work, putting in the work to, and accepting that, like, that both sides, whether it's him or her, but we're talking about our side right now. So I'm going to come at it from the woman's perspective, not that the men don't have a side, because they do. And obviously we're talking about heterosexual relationships. They could be lesbian relationships, right? But we're talking about heterosexual relationships right now, specifically. Um, but if your partner, your spouse, wife, comes to you and says, "Hey, look, like, our kids are out of the house. It's just you and I." Like,
Mhm.
I'm like not happy. This is like, I'm still working. We're getting close to retirement. You're still working, but like, we don't really do anything. Like, we kind of, like, we have family obligations, like we'll go see whatever, but like, this is like not working for me. And
Mhm.
he's like, "Well, I don't see what the problem is." Like, if there's no response to that, and it's multiple times, like, you have to, you know, both parties have to come along, is my point, and at this point in your life as a woman, we're going to move forward. No longer are we going to sit back,
Mhm.
right? We're not going to sit back and sort of, again, hang in there because we were raising these kids to get out of the house.
Right.
We're going to probably, if, yeah, we need to, and you can be successful and move forward and make a change and actually make your marriage better. What is Esther Perel? And she says it for those of you that are familiar with her, if you're not, but she's a psychotherapist and very famous. And she says it really around um, uh, marital affairs. But one of the things she says, and it can apply to this though too, is that many people will have more than one marriage in their lives. However, some people will do it with the same person. So it's like they will reinvent their marriage, right?
Mhm.
So it's not
Yes.
like they even there's not even a divorce. They will reinvent their marriage with the same person. So they will have, multiple marriages with like, their marriage changes, and it has to, in order to move forward. And if you think about that, I think probably if we sat down and talked to older couples, right, I can only imagine if we talked to even just a handful of older couples that were happily married, that would describe themselves as happily married. Because there's a lot of people that have been married for 50 years that are like, "Yeah, we've been married for 50 years," but if you really talk to them separately behind closed doors, it'd be like, "Ugh," like, there is that.
Stay
But
married,
if you
right.
talk to happily married couples, they would probably say how their marriage was a challenge and how it's changed. I can't imagine that it wouldn't.
Yeah. Yes. And
Yeah.
there's been people that are like had at the end of they think they're at the end of the marriage and are able to reinvent their marriage. So there's
Right.
all, different type of things.
Yeah.
Mhm. So our like final question, even at other points that I really believe that this is like, and it can be an exciting time in our lives. Like
Yes.
the whole idea of this podcast is just like this is, and to me, I do feel like this. I feel like it's an exciting time where if like, yeah, I'm not so focused on my body as much as I was. I'm still healthy. I still go to the gym, but it's not like my main focus. Like it's like what I want to do and other things. And
Right.
so the question I pose is what if invisibility is just the cloak that frees us from external distraction? So what if invisibility is the cloak that frees us from? So now we get to go inside and find out who we are, what we want to do. We get clarity around that, who we want to become. And that's like, we don't need everybody looking at us, or we don't need all the fanfare that maybe we once craved. And
Right.
you could, that could either really crush you and just feel like I'm nothing, no one sees me. It can really crush you. Or you can use it as your superpower, like, oh, I get to just be at peace and become who I want to become and talk to who I want to talk to. So it can go either way, but we are encouraging to use that like invisibility cloak to be like, I can go through life and now I get to choose, right?
Right. Have this amazing second half.
Yeah, amazing second half.
That's right. Yes.
Reflect on that.
Yeah.
What role are you looking to embody in this second half?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. All
absolutely.
right.
And with that, stay
Yes.
unapologetically
Eric.
you.
That's right.
Thank you
That's
is
right.
episode 9. All
See
right.
you next time.
See you next time.